Hello everyone, my name is Flashbang, and today we're going to look at Steven Crowder. Now, if you don't know who Steven Crowder is, he is basically trying to be the next Rush Limbaugh, and he got his show Louder with Crowder, which has over 1 million subscribers. So the most popular YouTube right-wing channel. And yes, on his show he's going to push a lot of right-wing politics. But one thing that may be surprising about Steven is that he's actually Canadian. Now, it's not a secret. He actually acknowledged a lot that he is born in Canada. Now he has dual citizenship with America. But yes, he is born Canadian, more specifically Quebec. So yeah, he is born in Quebec, and he is a Quebecer by birth, which I think it's funny. But yeah, the reason I bring this up, it's because every time Steven talk about Canada in any way, it's always like super negative. And most of the time, he's really just lying all the way through. He really paints Canada as some left-wing apocalypse where the PC police is going to get you. You can get in jail if you misgender someone. You know, he always say shit like that, which are not true. But it's not just Canada. He always do that with a place with left-wing politics. He also does that with the blue states inside the United States, telling you it's an awful place and blah, blah, blah. This is mostly to pander to his right-wing crowd. Conservative inside red states, which, you know, where you live it's good and what you're pushing is good. And everywhere else it's shit. Also, Steven is like a patriot. He always pushed the virtue of patriotism and loving his country. But for his actual birth country, he has no shame in mischaracterize it or slander it, spreading misinformation on the place where he is born. So yeah, not really patriotic of you. And to be honest, he's not even patriotic towards the United States. His only loyalty is towards the oil billionaire which paid for his show. So anyway, here's a chit-chat between Steven Crowder and Jordan Peterson. And their conversation is going to drift on Canada. More specifically, Quebec. And about more specifically, the city of Montreal. And like I said, Steven is just going to fucking lie all the way through. And like even Jordan Peterson is going to give him some funny look. And not taking him like really seriously.
I don't know what it's like out there in Western Canada. I kind of only have heard tales because I grew up in Quebec where we're not really witty and bonded. They're mostly just loud assholes.
And they speak French too, which is really unforgivable.
It really is unforgivable.
In this day and age. It's like, get on board, guys. It's like, join the rest of the world.
Oh, it absolutely. See, I'm not even joking though when I say that. People used to get furious when I would point to Quebec as an example of multiculturalism versus the melting pot in the United States gone wrong. And I would talk to Americans when I lived in New York, and I would say, "Do you realize you can just go 30 minutes north to the border, and you can go into a country with its own culture, different language. They don't speak a word of your language. You can't read a word of your language. They don't watch the same shows. They don't know your same celebrities. And they are a part of an English country known as Canada. But you will have gone to Quebec and you won't know that it's Canada. And by the way, they have a nationally representative party whose only interest is to separate from Canada. I said, this is part of the political, and these were conquered people who the English said, you know what, all right, we'll let you have this. And we go through the plains of Abraham. And I tell Americans, I go, you just don't know. That's why you say, okay, look, French folk, time for you to feather in Canada's English. And then you have the referendums to say, it'd be like Texas separating because they wanted to just be Spanish. It doesn't make any sense. Americans aren't understanding this, but Quebec's a silly place. That's my point.
I like that JP's kind of like sarcastic about Quebec speaking French, but Steven is like, yeah, fuck this guy for speaking French. And he doesn't get it that Jordan is not serious right now. So there's so many things wrong that Steven Crowder just said that are not true. This is all bullshit. First of all, 45% of Quebecers understand English. So it's almost as half. So no, a lot of Quebecers understand English, especially Montreal, which they will talk later. Now, he says that we don't watch the same show, we don't know their celebrity. That's not really true. It's true that Quebec has like their own media inside Quebec that, is pretty strong and a lot of Quebecers watch. But we're also familiar with American media and show. I mean, Quebecers watch American TV, American movie, and they know a lot of American celebrity. It's not that uncommon. And I think that's cool that Quebec media is pretty strong because Canada is defined by anti-Americanism, which means being not American. But the awkward part about English Canada is that they are defined by anti-Americanism, but they don't really have a strong English Canada media. So most of them are going to watch, American media and that's pretty much it. But at least Quebec, even though it watch American media, it can also have its own media, which is nice. Also, he make like a big fuss about Quebec being a French place inside an English country. But you know, there's other country who have like multiple language inside the country. Like Switzerland has 4 of them, Belgium got 3, and you got Zimbabwe with 16 language. So he really got the approach of a English-centric American opinion, you know, where there's just only one language. And okay.
I should say, in Quebec's defense, let's say that Montreal is a great city, and
That's true.
If people in the U.S. want a quick taste of Europe, Montreal is a great place. It's one of the world's great. It's truly one of the world's great cities.
It really is.
Dude, Steven is pissed that Jordan is not on his side for bashing Montreal. Look at his face. He's like, come on, man. Be with me.
I love Montreal. I lived there for like 8 years, and it's such a great city. It's so fun. It's got such a dynamic culture. The street life is amazing. It's really, really safe. Like you could wander around anywhere at 3 a.m. It's no problem. It's beautiful.
Well, I can't. I was mugged twice.
So you got Jordan Peterson, who had lived 8 years in Montreal. And as far as I know, Jordan Peterson doesn't speak French. He might know a couple of words and phrases, but he's not fluid in it. But there you have Jordan, who only speaks English and has lived 8 years in Montreal, and he seems to have been doing really fine, even like really liking the city. So again, the claim of Steven that like Quebec doesn't understand English is just bogus ass fucking shit.
In Montreal?
Yeah, I was mugged over a set of Interpol tickets by a small Haitian. Incidental, I only say it because the story was one that I've told on air. Yeah, I was mugged for Interpol tickets. He was a scalper anyway, mugged me for the money for the Interpol tickets. And anyway, the whole point is...
That's really humiliating. That's really humiliating, especially because he was small and it was Montreal. It's like, how did you manage that? And twice.
Do you know how he got away? He screamed, I swear to you, this is true. He screamed out that I was racist, and I stopped chasing him.
That's good. That should have happened to you. That absolutely should have happened.
This is the true story.
I like that Jordan does not sympathize with him at all. Like, he got mugged in Montreal, and that's on you, buddy. He does not give a flying fuck. So Jordan thinks that Montreal is base and is also a really safe place, but Steven Crowder does not think so. And he got a story to prove it.
I'm going to
You can see God up in the clouds.
Yeah, because I was going, why isn't anyone stopping him? I was going to see Interpol that night with my friend Carl. It was a band, sort of an indie rock band. I was going to see them at, I believe it was Metropolis or Spectrum. And I was going to what I knew was a scalper. Well, he didn't have Interpol tickets, but another guy who, he presented himself as a scalper. Turns out, not all, I don't know if you know this, you have to be choosy with your scalpers. They're not all...
Oh, you mean not all scalpers are honest?
Not all legitimate.
Isn't that something?
Though, ironically, you'll hear at the end of this tale, it was all redeemed through an honest scalper. So this small Haitian man says, oh, you want Interpol tickets? I'm not going to try and do his accent because people get all mad. But rest assured, he had one. Sounds like most people who are Haitian immigrants in Montreal. And he said, I got Interpol tickets. And I said, okay. He gave me the price. And I said, it seems a little steep, but okay. So he goes to, I can't remember which hotel. I just remember it wasn't the Queen Elizabeth. It wasn't a hotel I was familiar with. He goes, I got to go pick them up at the front desk. Right away, I'm thinking this is weird. He just said he has Interpol tickets. Why would he go to this hotel front desk? So he goes there, and then he goes into the restroom. Again, should have given me a red flag. I'm 16 years old, mind you.
Okay, well, that's a bit more...
Yeah, 16 years old, and he comes out, and then he has, I see him stuffing what's like toilet paper in this envelope. And he goes, all right, here are the tickets, give me the money. And I said, no, those aren't tickets. He said, what do you mean? I said, those are toilet paper. There's toilet paper envelopes. And he goes, how do you know that? I said, well, I saw you put toilet paper in there. And he goes like, man, he walks out. So I go, okay, he walks out the revolving door. And then when I walk, he's waiting for me. He's like, no, you mistook it. These are the tickets. And he shows what actually looks like tickets at this point. I said, oh, okay. So then I hold my money, but I see these covering up the name on the ticket. And I said, let me see the ticket. He goes, well, what, you don't trust me? You don't trust me? He starts making these accusations. And I said, no, just show me the ticket. He grabs the money from my hand. But the good thing is he ripped the $20 bills in half. So it was of no value to him. So I find solace in that. And then he runs out in the middle of the street. And I'm going, hey, guy just took my money. And I'm at this point 6'1", 6'2", but very skinny. But this guy is all of 5'3". And he's running through the street. And I go, why isn't anyone doing it? And of course, French, hey, ferme ta gueule, tabarnak. They're not friendly at all. And this guy just goes, what, you're saying it because I'm black? You're racist? And I stop him like, what? No. And he just ran into an alleyway. And I thought, well, now the alleyway has him now. I'm 16 and it's an alleyway. And then finally I told the story to another scalper who was right outside the Interpol concert. At that point, the show had already started. And he said, man, there's some really rough people out there here. And he gave me the tickets because they were of no worth at that point. The show had already started. He gave me Interpol tickets, which was very nice. But then he said, don't trust the Haitians. And I said, you're racist. That's so it could have been full.
You met the devil scalper and the saint scalper the same night.
Right. Yeah. So the point is, not as safe as you make it out to be.
Okay, I'm sorry, but his story is like nothing. I mean, like, it does suck that this happened to him, but if this is your story to prove that Montreal is not safe, I mean, it's really weak shit. It's unfortunate that this happened to him, but it's really not some traumatic event. Did the guy pull a gun on you, a knife, and attack you? No, he was trying to fool you with toilet paper, which is pretty funny. And Steven also seems to think it's funny, and Jordan Peterson also. It's the kind of thing that happened to you where, you know, it really sucks and it's upsetting when it happened at the moment. But later on, you just think about it and you're laughing because it's really ridiculous.
But yes, Montreal is a wonderful city to visit. I don't know that I would ever want to live there again with the taxes, and I don't know that I could raise kids there at this point.
I don't know if I could raise kids there. I mean, the taxes. So it's true that Canadian overall have higher taxes than American, and also Quebecer, compared to other Canadian, also pay higher taxes with the added provincial taxes. But even with that, Canada get way more with their tax system than the US. I mean, Canadian got Medicare for all, which US citizens don't. And Canadian can have up to 18 months of subsidized parental leave. But US citizens get no guarantee of having a subsidized parental leave. And I will say that these are both things that really help raising children. So I don't know what it's rambling about, but it makes no sense.
I mean,
I loved living there. So
our Times Square is Club Super Sex in Montreal. When I tell people that, I go, our Santa Claus parade is going back giant, flashing, neon purple tits. It's not like there's a red light district. It's the whole city. And Americans are like, you're exaggerating. Just go visit. But unbelievable restaurants, a lot of fun.
So Crowder's saying that Montreal is like an entire red light district where there's sex everywhere. You turn one corner, you see tits and shit. And this is just nonsense. He's just pandering to his Christian audience. He just wants to make it seem like, oh, us in the red states, we're all good and shit. But everywhere else, they're all full of sin and they're full of sex debauchery. But just shut up, Steven. You're ridiculous. So that's it for this section. As you can see, Steven, full of shit, cannot fucking lie, an absolute fucking dungus.